supply lasted only seconds, shut down, and within seconds of it shutting down, the power came back on. It's like, what?
You have an ironic interruptible power supply.
I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, let's recover those files. Thanks, Visual Studio. Yeah. Also, during the power outage, I had a chance to kind of rethink this a little bit. I've got the name in the wrong place.
Okay.
The name is not on the effect, I think. Wait, or is it? Hold on. Let's go bring up the DTOs and just give this a moment of thought.
Well, just to be clear, the effect, as we're calling it right now, is the parent of one or more prefabs that we will have do things for us. So
yeah,
the effect is not the medium flame. It contains a medium flame.
Kind of, yeah. So the problem is,
Or medium fire.
Yeah, medium. So we've got add effect here. So we get in here. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Where apply effects. So really kind of the way we want to do this, I'm gonna remove apply effects here. I'm gonna create a new button for this to test this because I kind of want to do something a little bit different. Although I do like this part here. I like the part that calculates the targets and sets the targets. I like this part of it as well. I kind of want to do this. This can all go afterwards. I kind of want to put it here. The problem is I need it for this parameter to the fireball, which is the new position. And can I move that code later? I'm just thrown by this code. This is not style I normally write in. And I'm like, well, who wrote this code? And I'm like,
that's very strange, in fact, yes.
I'm super thrown by this code. Like, did I write this by mistake? Did this code come from somewhere else? I think it was all me. And I'm like, what's going on with that? What's going on with the position? Oh, was this, I wonder if this was, no.
Was that intended to be an addition and it didn't quite work?
I think it was a mistake. I think it was like, I thought I finished the line and I didn't. That's what I think. Okay, so add effect, here's where we go clone it. And this is based on the spell effect name, instance ID, we get it. We set its position here. This is the piece I'm looking at right now, back to where I was.
Yeah.
I hate that Vector 3 doesn't have like a, just totally as an aside, I hate that Vector 3 doesn't have like a kind of an empty version of itself that I could, you know, set to. So that I could use it as a default parameter to know, just because I love to make this a default parameter so that it's optional and only if it's specified do we send something in. But there's
but to do that it couldn't be a struct, could it?
Right.
It'd have to be a class. And
I can't do that. Yeah. So I'm going to take this out. It's the only time. Am I only calling it from one place?
You could have nullable of vector, couldn't you? Nullable vector.
Oh, can I?
It's like list of. You can literally go nullable. I think the question mark is the syntax shortcut. Yeah. Now that.
And is that enough? That means I can say null here, and then I come in here and I say, okay, gotcha. Okay, so I say.
It's kind of awkward because you've got to. It means you can't send. Well, I think you can pass a vector to it, but on the internal, you've got to ask if it has value. Yeah, like that. Which I guess that's the whole point. You want to be able to make that distinction. So not necessarily so bad.
Okay. So now I can do that. And then I can come down here and I can give it some sort of effect position, right? Because basically the code in add effect is just drilling straight into effect.transform.position. That's all it's doing. So all I need to do is come down here and say, hey, that position is equal to this. And except for effect is now called fireball for some reason, right? Like that. Okay. So, all right. So now that I've moved these down, let's create that. Let's go back and create the button. And let's call that test effects. And now what I don't, this registered effects thing is, I'm totally like wanting to back out of this, I think.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm feeling on it. We'll just write this code and we'll see where we get. We'll kind of start here and see how we connect to it.
Yeah.
So in this code, no, I'm going to keep it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, yeah, I know I'm trying to get a cohesive direction here. I'm going to change this to a string index dictionary is what I'm going to do for efficiency's sake. Then down in here, we're going to say add result, and it's going to be result.effect name is what I'm going to do, like that. Okay, and then down here, test effects, I'm going to say get effect, and we're going to call this TaleSpire effect, like this right here. Okay, so the effect DTO is going to have a different name than the actual prefab. In fact, let's rename this to call this prefab name, so we're kind of very, very clear on what we're creating here. So the effect DTO has a prefab name it needs to create and instantiate. Okay, and then it's also got child objects as well that it'll need to necessarily instantiate.
So you're making an effect here, which will instantiate or cause a prefab of medium fire, and then you're adding it to a dictionary under the heading of test fire effect.
Right. And so what I want to do,
a property to it.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
After having applied a property to it.
Yeah. So
you could, in theory, have added multiple other medium fire effects under different names with different properties.
Yeah. And so now we'll do something here. Registered effects dot contains key of key. I want to call this key up here too as well. Then we're going to say return registered effects of key. Otherwise return null. And then we're going to declare a new local variable there. Get out of there. But now that if it's working, now I want to say effect dot kind of want to do something like this,
Yeah.
just like that. And I want to just have everything it needs to do it, to do that work.
If that built your composition of however many multiples of things and however many property adjustments, and you've packaged it all up into a named thing, you've gotten that named thing back out in this moment, which is, I want to use my thing, and now you say, go do the thing you've been pre-told, what you need to do.
Yeah. I think I want to pass in these parameters too, to go.
Okay.
Because I think I'm going to sometimes have them. Like a source and target.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm feeling for now. And this will be my source. Position. And that'll be my target position. Like that. We got to take register. No, wait. No, we don't. So now we have our prefab name. So the first thing we need to do is create our prefab. Let's go look at the code over in Form Explorer. We called add effect. How are we passing Janus ID to that? Because it needed an instance ID. I see, we're just reusing that. Let's rename this, or call it medium fire effect ID. And let's just create and let's call this, let's give it the same name. Just some unique thing in here so that when we call it and destroy it. Let's go look at Janus ID, see if we're using it anywhere else for the same context. No. No. I think, no wait. Clear attack. Yeah, it's, I think, needed here. Okay. All right, so we're calling add effect. Let's go look at add effect. This is the essence of it, right here. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Clone this thing, make sure we do it correctly, and put it over here, which would be our source position, presumably.
Yeah. Next, we got to deal with instance ID here. Because we need to be able to clean this up.
Yeah.
Which I think means Go needs an instance ID for this. That's what I'm going to do for now.
Okay.
And then we're going to pass in.
I mean, you're saying it just needs to be any random string.
Yeah, any string at all, but we need to, so that we can clean it up.
Don't pass it in. Generate a random GUID inside and pass it back out.
Kind of, but I need to clean it up is what I need to do. I need to actually explicitly clean it up, so I don't want to like hold on to a list for right now. That's kind of where I'm at on this. I'm kind of like trying to get the simplest thing going here. So instances dot delete, and then I want to come in and delete this same piece right here. So we just don't have multiples of these. So we clean up every time we test. So create a constant here called test instance ID. That, and then we're going to delete that, and then we're going to use it there. Okay.
Yeah.
Back into effect.go. So we've created the effect. Then we need to modify.
Deleting something you haven't actually used yet.
What did you say?
is there any negative if you try to delete or clear up something you've not used yet? Because you were calling the delete first.
Yeah, no, there's no negative if it doesn't find it. There's no measurable negative. All right, next I'm going to say modify properties. And I think I'm passing in source position and target position again. Or do I just store them internally? I'm beginning to think I'm going to store these internally, is what I'm going to do. So these are not going to be persisted, but these are going to be internally stored. In fact, let's make that really super clear by making these private. Like that. And then modify properties. All right. So we need to write some code here. We also have this ability to do recursive nested effects.
Yep.
And so we kind of need something here that says, hey, if not null, then for each one of these, nested effect, ETO, we want to go in and say nested effect ETO dot go and I think it may just be the same parameters all the way passed in.
Maybe so.
As well. Maybe so. I love the wisdom. All right. So now, if properties is null, we're not doing anything. Otherwise, we need a for each on all the properties. Fine. And then we're going to say call modify property. Passing in that base DTO. Or maybe like this. I think by the end of this, I'm going to remove the words DTO, the letters DTO from the end of these. I feel like you're psychically sending me messages on this, right? Your silence speaks volumes.
Yeah.
So we're going to pass in, what are we passing in? This? No, I don't think so necessarily. Hold on. Modify property. Yeah, we need to pass in the effect. At the very least, we pass in the effect. That's what we're going to do. All right, so to declare that method, now we're down in here. Game object coming in, we need to modify the property on it. We need to check to see if component name is not null. And if component name is not null, we need to call effect.get component. So the component name is actually going to be a component type name. Now we need to convert this into the right type to pop in there, is what we need to do.
Right, yeah.
And I've never done this before. I don't know if it's as simple as saying type of. I don't think it's going to work. But we need to get a type reference, is what we need to do based on the name. I'm sorry, what did you want to say?
Trouble trying exactly this, because the T is essentially a compile time mechanic.
No, we have to call this using reflection. That's what that means. Unless there's a non-version of...
If I'm remembering correctly.
No, I think you're right. Ooh, look at this.
Ah, that'll work better.
Who built that for me? That's like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do this. So that's going to get it. And here's what we're going to do. Sorry, hold on. Okay, instance. This is how this is going to work. If component name, type name is not null, then we're going to call get component, passing in the type name of the piece we want. Otherwise, we're going to set instance to this, like that. Nope, to effect. Sorry.
That's, yeah.
Did you catch that too at the same time?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I was just trying to think how to articulate.
What did you do, Mark? Yeah, that's kind of it. All right, so that's what it is. If component name is null, instance equal to effect. Otherwise, instance equal to that.
Yes,
Good.
that makes plenty sense.
Next, we need to do this. We need to say, I think it's instance dot get type dot get property name, which is just name.
Yep.
Like there. Let's go get that guy. And if it's null, there's nothing we can do. Well, we can log TaleSpire.log.error. Property thinking about a coder's feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me run it by you before I report it and see what you think. So, let me clean this up a little bit. Let's say I'm here.
Yep.
And I type in that. I type that in.
Yep.
What if, in that moment, it did two things? It did...
Close curlies.
What'd you say?
$ and close curlies.
$ close curlies, but also did what you typed. So it did this first, then it did this second. But it did them both so fast, so it just looked like one thing. And then it put your caret here so that you could get to there instantly or hit undo, and hitting undo would take you back to here. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, because then you would not... You'd be at the point post open curly to continue.
Yeah, I'm going to report it. I'm going to report it, suggest it. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, devs, I've got a feature request for you. And it looks like this. I'm right here, and I hit the open brace. What I want 9 times out of 10 when that happens, if I'm in C# and I'm not in an interpolated string, is I wanted to do this. I wanted to, first of all, type in what I typed. Set that off as its own undo unit. Then I want it, as a second undo piece, I wanted to add that, and then I wanted to add this with the caret right there. So that if I don't want it, the penalty to go back is a real quick undo. I just hit undo. So my undo gets me from like here to back to what I was expecting, to there, right? So I can undo to there, but then redo back down into this situation here. I want that like 9 times out of 10 when I'm in a string. 1 time out of 10, I might actually want to only have this, but that almost never happens to me. So that's the feature request. We can add that under smart brackets, smart braces, and it can be an additional option. And the option can maybe look like pre-interpolated strings.
So yes, create or convert to interpolated string.
Convert strings, normal strings to interpolated when open brace is pressed.
And obviously this only happens if they're not already converted.
Yeah, well, that's why I said normal strings to interpolated, right there.
True.
Okay, all right, here's my issue piece right here. Don't need a log. Whoops, I said issue. I don't want issue. I want feature request. Feature request, smart braces in strings. That's what I want for my feature. I'll put that in the chat room. I'm going to take what I just typed here, stick it in the chat room too, Rory. If you could copy that for me and reply to the email that came out, that was generated, and just put that text in there so they have that. All right, that's what I'm looking for. I really think that's a useful feature. Okay, so here, property name not found in instance, like this. So there's my error right here. I need error checking here. Then I want to say, yeah, it's going to be the same kind of thing. Component type name not found in instance. Yeah, and that's game object. In instance, I might as well put game object in there too. Its name. Whoops, it's called effect.name. Okay, so I got my error here, and I think this is a return. If we hit that block, I'm going to change this, be a little more protective, like that, since we're coming from a text environment. Okay, so now if we get down to here, we got the property, we've got the instance. We can now come in and say property dot set value, and this is the instance right there. The value is going to be a call to get value. Okay?
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, in our test code, in our test example, this is where things get tricky. My property name is localscale.y.
Yes, and you effectively want to go into the local scale, and then on local scale get a further property called y, and then set that value.
Yeah, but
so you kind of need to drill into the property of the property of the property until you exhaust the string.
That's exactly what I'll do. Just saw your email come in. Thanks, Roy, for that. So I have to do that. We have to drill in. So what we need to do is this. We need to do a split on this name. Split to char on the dots, and I think we're just going to for each all of these, for each property name and split. Something happened in my settings. It started doing. I prefer explicitly declared pieces. All right, so now we're going to come in here, property name, we're going to say get instance of property name, and
you take the property info, split the declaration, and pull it out of the for each.
Well, I need the instances, I need the value to change the instance. So I think what I need here is I need a new object here called next instance, and set that equal to instance here, work with it here, and then set it here. So if it's null, property is null, we're going to get out there, but here we're going to say next instance is equal to property dot get value of next instance.
Okay.
Are you with me? Does that make sense to you? Because I'm not sure it makes sense to me. All right, now that we've got that, then we got to come down, property name. So we're going to move that. I think this is going to work. So we get the next instance, we get its type, whatever its type is, then we get that property. That gives us our property info. Then we call get value the next instance, passing it in, and then whatever that is, we pass that back into also next instance in case we're coming in again another time. Does that make sense?
Does.
Okay. Finally, though, we're left with the property, which means this has got to be, we've got to split this, and we've got to widen the scope, bring this out 1, right here to there, like that. Set it equal to null out here. And then we're going to come down finally at the end, and we're going to say, hey, if the property is null, we're going to report that as an error and get out. Otherwise, we're going to come down here, call set value on it. And I think there's a chance this will all work. We'll come down here and we'll say property was null. Property not found in instance. That's good. Oh, this. It's going to change to this. And yeah, I think we'll do that. If this works, I'm kind of excited about that code because that's kind of cool.
Unfortunately, mate, I've got to depart. I've reached the end of the day.
Hey, thanks so much, Roy. I appreciate it.
It's all right. Yeah, no problem
You're the
at all.
best, as always. Today's Thursday, right? We'll see you next Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. All right, bud.
my
Have
friend.
a good one. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Okay. So there's modified properties in there. There's my go. So the scale in the Y direction would change of the effect. And it's just now occurring to me that that may have no impact at all on this particular effect. Let's start up Unity. Because it's a particle system, I'm not sure changing its scale will actually have an impact. I may want to choose a different prefab to do the test with. So I guess we have to check that first, go into the particle system. Let's build it, see if we're missing anything. It's a chance this will work. I really want to step through this code though. It's here. Oh, it's here? It's here. No? Where is this problem? It's on this weird empty line. Let me try rebuilding here. Okay, that explains a lot about why I couldn't find it. I think, so we've rebuilt that. I wanted to check in here. Got our medium fire out there. All right, there it is right there. So the question is, if I change the scale, it will work. So it will be taller from a 1 to a 2. Doesn't really change it very much. Or does it? Am I just not seeing that from the side? Yeah, let's make it a 10. We'll definitely see a 10. Okay, so the scale will work. All right, cool. That's great news. So we're going to change this value to a 10. All right, so let's review the code we've got right here so we can get to follow this through. We're creating, in Register Effects, we're just going to create a new test effect DTO, setting its prefab name to medium fire. That's what it's going to create. We're adding a property to it that we're going to change. We want to go to the transform component and grab local scale.y, that property, and change its value to 10. And then we add it. So we're doing that in a called Register Effects. That happens at the very beginning when we start and build our form. When we click button Test Effects, we're going to attempt to get that effect. And if we get it, we're going to, let's do this. Let's do a little more debug error log messaging right here. TaleSpire.log.debug. Maybe error. And we'll say, hey, test fire effect not found. And then if we're down here, we're going to say, hey, it's found, but not an error. I'm going to use a warning because I like how they stand out. We've got an instance ID just so we can delete those and clean everything up. We're going to get these two positions. We're passing them in, but we're not using them yet. Then we call go. We could do this. Effect dot transform dot position is equal to target position dot. Is there an extension method on this? There's not. New vector 3. Target position dot x. Dot y. And nope. What's wrong with that? Dot position. Dot. Oh, can I do this? What's this? Is this a vector 3? It's a vector DTO, but from there I can get what I need. Get vector 3. Okay, effect transform position. We'll set that to, so the firewall will go to the target, the fireball will go to the target, and then hopefully it'll be very tall. That's what we're looking for. So let's rebuild this. Rebuild all succeeded. Let's start up TaleSpire. Yeah, stepping through this is much preferred. But unfortunately, stepping through attaching to Unity appears to be, it's a challenge we haven't solved yet. There's a lot there involved with it, is my understanding. Okay, it's loading resources. All right, let's go find Janus. Janus. I gotta look at this little bump right there, it seems. There's Janus right there. So we're looking for a tall effect on that when I say go. If it works. There's the log right there, switching from setting up to active. Okay. Let's put that down there. Maybe up here. Just want to move to get all three things visible at once. And let's try hitting test effects. Property Y not found in instance. It's position.y, isn't it? Yeah, it's position.y. Okay, so that's actually really good. There's a chance this code all works. Wouldn't that be awesome? We need to get to here. local scale. Oh no, wait. Hold on. Is it right? Let's go out in here just so we can write some code and see what it looks like. Hold on. I think it might be in my get property call. No, I'm calling next instance, got get type on it. All right, let's go follow the code over and see if it makes sense. Get component, trying to get transform. Local scale.y should work. That's what we have here. Local scale.y. Is it a field? Oh my gosh, is that what it is? Holy cow. If y is a field, that would explain why we can't change that from here. Hold on, let's verify this. Let's start writing this code. It's a field. That may be why we're not able to get it. Okay, cool. All right, so we can't get the property. So then we're going to try to call get field on it. Property name like that. Then we're going to say, hey, if that's null, then we're going to get out. No, not now, please. Oh, man. Hey, Pudding. Welcome, Pudding. How you doing, buddy? Just missed Rory. He left. I know, it's sad. CRT. So it's my show again. Let's see you got power back, yeah. All right, this is good now. Now we've got field down here. I'm like stunned that this is actually maybe working. So if property is null and field is null, then we're going to come down here and we're going to say, hey, property name, property field, that not found in instance. Otherwise, we're going to say, we need to set these to null. And I think we need to set them at the top of the for loop, right here. We need to set that to null and set that to null, the top of the for loop. So it's only if we achieve success along this path that one of those two will be set. Either property, which we're prioritizing, or field, if property's null. So if we exit the loop, one will be set, not the other. All right, so now what we can do is come down here and say, hey, if not null, over there, then we're going to do that. Otherwise, at this point we know field is good. We're going to say field dot set value get value. Okay, and get value, just to remind you about that in our float property DTO is going to do a try parse on the value string passed in. All of this is to basically get from a text representation of a spell effect into something that actually modifies it. That's what we're trying to build here. So we've got some code here that just creates a very simple spell effect. It's going to bring up the medium fire. It's going to try to take its local scale on its transform property and change its value to 10. Let's rebuild that. Ready to start TaleSpire. Looks like that succeeded. Here comes TaleSpire. What's cool about this is that we'll be able to have, complex, if this works, we'll be able to have complex descriptions of spell combinations. That's what's cool about it. So this is my button that's going to do this. What I'm looking for, success, is it puts the fire on the character Janus, who's right up here flying, right here. That guy right there. Looks like I always need to do this. This guy is going to have flame on him that is like 10 times taller than it normally is. That guy right there. Let's see what happens when we click the test effects. Let's actually bring up the log as well. So see what we get. Here's the click. Got an exception. Oh, I know why. We can't actually call set value on it. Here's what we can do. I'm pretty sure I know what's going on. There's some protection in here. So my new value, I'm going to do this. It gets more complex. But we're going to say 10, we're going to say 1, 10, 1. And I'm going to change this from a float property DTO to a vector 3 property DTO, which we need to create a new instance of. All right, so now what we need to do is we've got this value string. We need to turn it into 3 different numbers. So we're going to take this, call split. Separator is going to be a comma. Like that. Call this parts. And then we're going to say, I'm not going to write any error checking right now, I think. Yeah, I'm not going to write any error checking. Initialize these to 0. And for each part of parts, no, we're going to do this instead. We're just going to allow the error. Jeez. Do I really do that? No, I got to do error checking. Okay, error checking. So if parts dot length is not equal to 3, then we're out and we have an error. We can't do anything. We're going to return null. Or no, we're not. This is going to, we need to return a new vector 3. Why don't I just have vector 3 in there? Do vector 3 of 0, 0, 0. That's what I think we got to do. Okay. And I think we need to also put a log in here. TaleSpire.log.error. Nope. Error. Oops. 3 values separated by commas like that. Okay. All right. Still going to return something, normal, so we don't bring down the whole system by assigning null to a position. Then we're going to do, we're going to grab each of these pieces. So we're going to say x is equal to parts of 0. We say, call it get float. Change that to a y. And like that. And then we're going to say return a new vector 3 again, based on x, y, and z. Okay. And finally, we need get float. And if otherwise we return 0, and I'm going to throw put another log in there that we're going to say unable to convert. Let's do this .trim. So I'm going to do some local for this. Trim stir like this. Okay. We're going to say unable to convert to a float. All right. Looks like it's our error. And we've got a vector 3 property DTO. I think what I want to do, I want to work on the names. I want to change the names of these, but I'm not exactly sure what yet. I'm still kind of working on what those are. This is the class I'm working with so far. All right, are we creating a new instance of this? There it is right there. So there, we've got its value. We're going to go into the transform component and grab the property local scale. Okay. Let's build it. Actually, one more thing I want to do. We'll put all this in a try-catch block right here. And then we're going to come in here. And we're going to say, to our usual exception. Right here. ex.message. So if I'm wrong and their exception is being thrown somewhere else, we'll at least catch it and we won't kill the app. All right, one more time. Rebuild. Campbell's in the office on another computer. He's working on his Khan Academy. I've been watching him in my peripheral vision, and he's been apparently just blazing through it. He's got a goal. And he stopped now that he hears me talking about it. Always thinking, never mind. Tropical Punch recipe calls for 300 milliliters of sugar for every 2 flavor packages. Write an equation that shows a relationship. What's that right there? Oh, is that S? It looks like the number 8. Between S, the amount of sugar. Yeah, that S, their S looks like an 8. Okay, looks like, am I started up? What's happening in my world? Looks like I did not start it. Start it. All right, here we go. Look at that, kids. Holy cow, that worked. All right, that's what I call some serious progress right there. If you're just joining us, what that proves is that we are now able to, with some text, specify, I want to basically take an existing effect and modify it in this way. And modify it just by specifying, just with strings, just by saying, I want to take this property and change its value. All right, that's super cool. Move Janu's over here, and come back over and do it again. It should just jump and move right over to him. Looks good. All right, I think it's a good time for me to stop because I've got like a bunch of other to-do tasks I've got to get done today. I'm going to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us today. We had a power outage. If you were with us earlier through that, thanks for sticking with us all the way through. Let me get a raid going. Send you over to Honest Dan Games. All right? All right, everybody. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. Kids Code tomorrow. We're working on the super number calculator. Should be fun.